The British modern era began at the turn of the 20th century in the year 1901. One of the main influences on society was the two world wars. Great Britain got involved in World War I when they declared war on the Ottoman Empire in the month of November 1914. This caused most of the men to quit their jobs and go to war. Much like in America, the women began to work in factories producing war materials and working on airplanes. Women were very needed to keep the factories going. By the end of World War I, almost 2 million women had jobs that replaced men. Before the war, most women stayed at home to care for the families. About 24% of the women were in domestic services. There became a dramatic increase for the need of daycares to care for the working women's children. After the war, women basically got kicked out of their jobs since the men returned home and took their jobs back. This eventually allowed women to gain very few rights. When the men returned home, the baby boom began. It was because of the women during World War I, widows owning their own land, and the shortage of men, women earned partial voting rights. Women did not earn full rights until 1928 when the Equal Franchise Act became effective on July 2nd. Children were forced to practice drills during school in the event of a nuclear bomb. Men, women, children, and even animals had gas masks at the ready in case a nuclear bomb went off. Food shortages began to scare Britain and much of the world during World War. Wheat was one of the main foods to run short during the war era, which caused bread to run short. This also meant chickens, which created the food, was running out of their own feed. People were highly encouraged to grow their own crops. When World War II rolled around, just as during the First World War, the men went to the fight and the women stayed at home and also began working the factories again. The same food shortages showed up again in the Second World War, with wheat being the main shortage once again. The government was encouraging people to grow their own crops again to help with the shortage of wheat and more. They were also encouraged to feed the chickens and livestock table scraps to help save their wheat and corn. After the war, electricity became the normal. Technology was more advanced, and this allowed the inventions of washers and dryers, common kitchen appliances, and other basic electrical appliances. As a pastime, the British watched plays, listened to the radio, and watched TV. The most commonly watched plays in the late 19th century and the 20th centuries were comedies that were mainly written by Oscar Wilde and Arthur Pinero. Oscar Wilde was an Irish poet that was born on October 16, 1854. Wilde was the best known for his comedy The Lady Wildman's Fan. Sir Arthur Wigg Pinero was a playwright born in the year of 1985 in London. Pinero started his career as an actor when he was 19 years old. He wrote his first play, The Squirrel, in 1981. The radio changed during World War II when the government started to ask people to join the war.